Hey guys, welcome back. Apparently Lichess banned me for playing for a couple of minutes. It says the timeout expires 1 minute ago. I'm not sure what this means, but it won't let go. Let's solve some puzzles in the meanwhile until it goes away. Okay, by the way, my Lichess rating puzzle is 2312. It's not great, but I must admit I almost never done tactics on Lichess. So the last move was bishop takes f5, threatening my queen, kind of skewering. And also we must remember that in tactics it's very important to consider very forcing move first before thinking about any moves which are kind of normal moves. So I'm not even thinking about moving my queens away, because that would be a non-forcing move. So the candidate moves are bishop takes bishop, threatening to take the knight on d6, going for some attack against the king. Bishop takes queen takes bishop, kind of makes sense, and then to take the bishop on c5. I want to start with the move bishop takes c5. I feel like it's the most forcing. Bishop takes queen is the only important move. Bishop takes on d6. This is check. He must play king f7. Rook e7 check. King must go to g6. And at that point, I no longer have any checks or any forcing moves. So I'm assuming that's not the correct solution. So the same applies for queen takes bishop. So all of the most forcing moves doesn't seem to work in this position. So second thing I want to consider is the less forcing moves but still aggressive moves, such as queen f4 or queen g3, putting some pressure on the knight on d6. Queen g3, so the idea that if he takes the bishop then I take the knight check. One of these two moves I think is correct. Now I'm trying to understand which one is better. Queen g3, the advantage that it covers the e1 square, so it doesn't have any funny stuff with my last rank. Queen f4 though keeps pressure on the bishop on f5. Both are pretty good arguments. But as you know, in these tactics there must be only one correct solution, so I know for sure that only one of these can work. I'm betting, and I don't know not exactly why, but I have the feeling that queen f4 is stronger. Slightly more centralized, but it's difficult to say. Let's think a little bit. It's a fairly difficult problem, and I don't want to embarrass myself, but should I just go with queen f4? Looks pretty convincing. If he takes my rook, I take the bishop, then the king and the knight are going to be pinned, so I'm going to win material there. Queen f4, there is also this g5 move. Looks like a bad move, but it's an option. Don't know what to tell you guys. Both look kind of good. Let me just bet. God damn it. Was this queen g3? No. Oh my god, I'm really embarrassing myself. It was none of these two moves. Amazing. What else could it be then? I guess my ban is gone, so let's just see, view solution. Queen e2. Wow, just threatening queen e7, that's all? And then picking the bishop on c5? Really? I mean, what if rook e8? Probably I just take a lot of material, right? Maybe take on e8, take the bishop. I must say it's still not so clear to me, even after seeing the solution. Let's say rook e8. Maybe I just play rook e3, escaping the threat. Yeah, this was a bit tough. Even though I must say I didn't put too much effort, I hope that's a good excuse for you guys. Anyways, I hope my ban, yeah, so my ban is already gone, so let me search for a 10+0 game. Chess Network is streaming at the moment, but he's playing against some viewers or something, so I guess I would not have a chance to play against Jerry, even though I know some of you guys always wanted me to play against Jerry, but I couldn't reach him as of yet. But I do have an opponent, Mr. Cyrano, I guess. Good luck to Mr. Cyrano. Let's write him in the chat. And we have a Sicilian defense. Okay. Sicilian defense it is. Knight f3. Let's see what kind of Sicilian he chooses. G6. The so-called hyper-accelerated dragon. One of the sharpest Sicilians out there. I think I'm gonna go d4, take with the knight, and kind of test myself on the main lines of this opening. Knight c3, bishop e3, defending the knight. So I'm getting ready to eventually castle queenside. This is the most principled and aggressive setup that white can choose from. Bishop b3 is a very important move to avoid any kind of tactics related to the move queen b6 and capturing on b2. And a5 is just one of the many possible moves that black probably had at his disposal. d6 is one of them, d5, a pawn sacrifice is another one. I'm not going to go very deep into the details, but I just want to let you know that in this position alone there are at least 7 or 8 different moves that black can try, and all of them are pretty logical. a5 is one of them. The idea is to push the pawn to a4. So since he made such an aggressive move on the queen side, I'm going to abort kind of my initial plan to castle queen side, and I'm going to castle on the safer side, on the king side. Now his idea should be to play the pawn to a4, kind of force me to take with the knight, and then try to get the pawn in the center of the board on e4. That's what most people play. This is the I think the most principled move, since black already played the move a5. So knight takes a4. So I'm taking a rear pawn for a central pawn, but black has some weaknesses on his queen side. Knight b5 is now the best move. I have very big threat of bishop b6 or knight b6 coming, so the move rook a6 that he played is forced. This position is still theoretical, I know this for sure, and to my knowledge the best plan for white here is to play the move queen e2 and slip to strive to centralize his rooks, since these two open files are opened up. Another nice resource that white has at some points is the move c4, if I'm not mistaken, trying to get a strong grip in the center of the board. Black, on the other hand, might be happy with the fact that he got one of my central pawns. So if white is not careful, these pawns might start moving forward at some point and try to kind of crash through white's center. This is why white should place his rooks in the middle in order to be able to fight against this type of aggressive movements in the center, for sure. So in this position, my theoretical knowledge is already, I'm already uncertain of what is supposed to be black's moves here. d6 just looks like a logical move, trying to get the c8 bishop developed somewhere. Other possible moves I'm even not sure about. d5 looks risky, I think, because it puts the pawn on a slightly vulnerable square where the rook together with the bishop can attack it and put some good pressure against it. But he chooses to do so anyway. Okay. Not necessarily a bad move, but a risky one. So rook d1 looks like a no-brainer. It's the very natural move. That's the move I wanted to do anyways. And because he played the move d5, it's even more logical. e6, and now c4 looks like a logical move, trying to attack the pawn on d5, which I think it's should be the best move. I cannot just let black maintain his strong center just like that. Even though now that I'm speaking, knight c5 is also kind of logical. The idea is to try to force black to take on c5 and then take with the bishop, trying to create some tactical opportunities there, but I think c4 is just the most logical and should be played. I'm just making sure that I'm not missing anything. Position is pretty sharp. It should not be underestimated. I definitely should not make my decisions lightly. But it's difficult to argue with the move c4. It looks just so logical. Okay, let's do it. c4. It also enables my bishop to move to c2, which I think it's nice. For example, if he plays the move knight to a5, trying to eliminate my strong bishop on b3, which puts pressure on the pawn on d5, then I can play bishop c2 with the threat of capturing his knight on e4 and using the fact that he cannot recapture because then his queen will be in danger. So black needs to make a very big decision in this position of what he wants to do next because his pawn is hanging. If he plays d4, then I think I have a small tactical detail. I can take on d4 and use this discovered attack against his knight on e4. So that doesn't seem to be like a good option for him. What else? Knight e7 is an option to defend the pawn on d5, but I must admit it looks very passive. So as black, I would play a move such as knight e7 only if I wouldn't see any other choice, because it doesn't inspire me like a move that black really wants to do. And I don't think I see other options. Knight f6 also is very passive. It takes away maybe black's most active piece away from its square. It just looks wrong. Just feels wrong. What else? I don't see too much other things. I don't think black can create too much tactical opportunities here since all of white's pieces are fairly well defended. So there is not too much point for black in trying to search for any kind of tactical opportunities, I believe. He's taking his time to think, which I can understand because his position is pretty delicate. If he makes the wrong turn here, his position might become just very bad very quickly. Queen h4, that's a brave decision. Is he going for my king? Well, good luck with that, because my king position seems pretty safe right now, so I don't see a reason why not to take the pawn on d5. I'm going to do that. He can try to threaten to checkmate me with bishop e5, but this is very easily being dealt with. Either f4 or g3, both are very satisfactory. His bishop gets liberated though, so I need to be slightly careful. So I cannot take with the bishop on d5 because then my knight on a4 would be hanging. What I can try to do is play knight c7, attacking the rook, and then try to recapture on d5 with the knight. It's one option. Rook takes d5 is possible, but I must say it feels a little bit wrong to put the rook in the middle of the board like that. Knight c7 looks like my preferred choice. I want to capture on d5 with my knight. The knights belong in the center, not the rooks. The rooks are long range pieces. I don't want to put my rook on d5, so let's play this move. And against bishop e5, I have the move g3, which is very important because otherwise that would be a fork against my knight and the checkmate. But g3, I think it's a pretty important resource. So I hope I'm not missing any kind of tactics on the king side. But I have strong faith in my position there. It's very solid. It's not easy to attack my king. But he does have those two bishops and the queen and the knight looking towards my king. Maybe I'm missing something, but let's calculate. Bishop g4 looks nice at first glance, but I just play f3 and it's not so clear how to attack, how to continue the aggression there, and it's a fork. Bishop e5, g3, once again his queen is under attack, so he will have to move, and then the pawn on d5 or even the rook on a6 will be hanging. He's taking his time to think. Once again, I think, yeah, he takes on a4. That's an interesting decision, sacrificing the exchange. I have to take anyways. I don't have any other choice. So he's going for it, and I think it's a good practical decision to take on a4. He might have some discovered attacks against my bishop, but the question is where exactly the knight should go now, because he have no pieces that he can capture besides my pawn, but that's not very good. Knight c3 is just exchanging pieces. I don't think he really gets anywhere by doing that. Bishop e5 is still there, but I still have g3, so it shouldn't be very good. Black has a lot of tactical potential in this position, but it seems like white is just barely holding kind of everything together. d4 also is an option, arguably the most logical move that black has at his disposal right now, because it's defending the pawn on d5 in this way, attacking my bishop on e3, and my bishop on e3 doesn't have too many good squares to retreat to. He chooses bishop g4. So what is he going to do after f3? I think I have to play the move f3 anyway, so once again I'm not going to think about it too much, because it's a forced move, and if you have a forced move there is no way to spend too much time thinking about it. Bishop e5, right? g3 once again looks forced, so he can sacrifice a lot of pieces there, but because I have my queen on e2 always ready to go to g2 and cover everything, I don't think it's really leading anywhere. So he has 1, 2, 3 pieces hanging right now, so there is no way back for him. I think he will have to sacrifice something, and we also should not forget that already black is an exchange down, so he will have to sacrifice quite a lot of material in this position. But if you ask me, I think black's position is now objectively losing, because the attack is not strong enough. Bishop takes g3. Well, but my question is, what is even the threat? I mean, this is covered. White has an extra rook right now, and black doesn't even have a threat, so his attack does not inspire me as very dangerous, so I will take that bishop. He took my knight on c7, but that's okay with me, because we knew that knight might not survive. But now maybe there is a threat. Queen to g3 check, using the fact that against queen g2 there is queen takes e3. So now there is a threat, so I cannot play anything I want. Bishop f2 would be a terrible blunder because of queen h2 checkmate. The solid move looks to be queen g2, even though I would be happy to exchange on c6 first and then do this, but it seems like I'm not in time. Queen g2 it is. My queen just covers everything on the king side. His attack is Might look scary on first glance, but I don't think there is too much going on. 95, yes, that's why I wanted to exchange also the knights, but I was just not in time to do that. Bishop f4 looks logical, but fails to bishop b6 check, and actually I might be even losing there. The threat is knight takes g4. I must defend from that, because then the knight would become too dangerous in the attack, way too dangerous. Maybe just rook d4. Even though then he might have just bishop b6. Yeah, this is a little bit of a critical moment. I like the move bishop f2. Now there is no more checkmate on h2, so I actually might use this chance to push his queen slightly away from its active position on h4. As you can see now, I'm very much on the defensive mode. I'm only thinking about, whoa, blunder alert. As I'm speaking, I just realized I blundered. Yeah, I have seen this resource a couple of moves ago. Yeah, I'm losing. Yeah, that's it. Checkmate. Yeah, there's nothing I can do.